The chapter starts as a friendly and scary mutant introduces himself as a mutant who was born when Earth had a nuclear war, which caused the world to turn into ruins. Because of this predicament, the mutant has nothing left to do but just stand on the same spot and wait for twilight. Most of humanity perished because of the war, and if some do make it out alive, there is no doubt they would be able to survive scenarios such as this. Though boredom is not the only issue the mutant had. It is also the lack of a girlfriend he has. The extinction of dating apps or blind dates makes it hard for the old mutant to even find a being who would be his partner, which is why he is stuck in this very isolated world alone, deprived of touch. Suddenly, an explosion had caught his attention and wanted to check if one of the mutants were having a rampage causing the explosion. To his surprise, a girl had killed a human and detached its eye like it was nothing. The mutant wanted to surprise by the strength of the girl, but because for the very first time, he had seen a female who kinda looks like a baddie. With a simple hello, the mutant simp was head over heels by this encounter. He was going to respond when another mutant attacked the girl, though he acted very quickly and defended the girl like the simp he was towards the other mutants. With the help of the two of them fighting together, they were able to defeat the monsters with ease. Now that things are finally out of the way, the mutant asked the girl what her name was and what she was doing there. She told him that she was looking for food, and her name was Rin, and asked the mutant what his name was. Though, the mutant doesn't have a name. Because of this, Rin asked whether it was okay for her to call him Mayutaro-kun, which made the mutant happy. So happy that he confessed immediately to her even though that was their first interaction. Rin doesn't know how to respond and walks away. Devastated, the mutant had received his first ever rejected from the first ever girl he saw. While he was mopping over the fact that he was rejected, Rin came back and grabbed his arm and told her that she has high hopes for him and she'll be waiting. Down bad, the virgin mutant was once again simping for the girl he just met. Somewhere far away from where Mutaro lives, Rin is at a hospital in a human colony where her mother is admitted. Before leaving, Rin prayed for her mother, who was ridiculed with pipes that keeps her alive for now. Meanwhile, Mayutaro was having a dream about Rin and got hard again, making him stuck at his ceiling. Coincidentally, Rin had searched for Mayutaro and asked him cutely if he wanted to have lunch with her. Because of this, Miyutaro can't help but get hard once again. While the two were going far away to eat lunch, two humans were spying on Mayutaro and talked about how he would sell for such a large sum. Apparently, life hasn't been easy for Rin as to why she had to hunt mutants, do hard labor, and even go on experiments in order to gain money. The two humans were actually fans of Rin and wouldn't want their idol to have a relationship with Miyutaro, but as one of them explained, there was no chance she would fall in love with a mutant. They should just focus on their mission and capture this mutant, even though they don't even have experience in doing so. While Rin was feeding Mayutaro, she kind of felt bad about setting him up, but proceeded to give the signal because she really needed the money, so she could afford her mother's surgery. While the two men were on their way to capture the mutant, Miyutaro revealed that he actually could sense that she was deceiving him and could hear what her friends were saying all this time. Because of the pain he was dealing with from Rin's betrayal, Miyutaro transformed as his cells went into overdrive, implementing a defense mechanism for him. Rin was shocked, seeing Mayutaro transform into such being as the pain envelops his whole being cause by simping to a girl too much. Mayutaro's form had alerted Rin's friend to move forward faster, thinking that he would go rampant after knowing the information he just heard. They got even more terrified when Mayutaro looked like he was in a fight stance getting ready to strike them. Rin's two friends went beside her as they debated whether to shoot or not, but got distracted when Mayutaro suddenly came towards them with such speed. The two then decided to protect Rin as they concluded that Miyutaro was after her. Suddenly, the attack was stopped minutes before it hit them. It was then revealed that Miyutaro was stopping his own mutant cells. Miyutaro explained that his cells act on their own whenever he gets upset, and hearing Rin's story about her mother triggers it, although he was a little bit angry from them deceiving him. He understands why Rin has to do what she has to do because of the hardships she had suffered throughout the years. He then explained that the cells just wanted to comfort Rin as to why it was coming towards her. Because of this, Rin reached out and hugged the mutant cells, feeling comforted by it. Rin's friends were so touched that they also went for a hug. Miyutaro then calmed himself down and felt that something was off. Rin then went ahead and fixed the problem for Miyutaro. Because of the misunderstanding Rin's friends had created, one of them thought that maybe playing some old maid would fix things, which Rin agreed to. With that, they started to play old maid in the middle of nowhere despite the windy weather. One of Rin's friends talked about a storm coming in, and sure enough, a big storm is coming on their way, making the group panic a bit about the vehicle they would use to get out of the storm's distance. Rin then volunteered to stay and told them that she would stay in Miyutaro's home food for the time being. With that, Rin's friends rode the bike, telling Miyutaro to take care of Rin for the time being. The two then went towards Miyutaro's surprisingly very organized room, which made him tense, knowing that the girl he was simping so hard was in his room. Inside Miyutaro's home, Rin was observing Mayutaro's books when she noticed the hole in the ceiling. Mayutaro didn't know what to say and lied that it was another mutant who dug a hole in his ceiling, even though he knew very well that the cause of that hole was him thinking about Rin while he was sleeping. Rin didn't buy the lie and asked him if he thought about naughty things about him, which made him a bit more tense. As Rin observed Miyutaro, she learned, judging by his reactions, that he is a virgin. She then took this as an advantage and wanted to make him fall for her in order for him to do things she wanted to and earn money for her to pay for her mother's surgery. Rin then proceeds to seduce Mayutaro by jumping on his bed, which made Mayutaro create another hole in his ceiling. Her successful attempt fueled her and attempted to seduce him again. Mayutaro then launched upwards because of the excitement he was feeling towards Rin's seduction. Rin then wore her clothes again and noticed someone on the door. She then checked who it was and was slightly surprised to see a mutant proclaiming that she was Mayutaro's girlfriend. Terrified from the encounter, Rin didn't know what to do as she faced the angry mutant that was about to attack her. As Miyutaro blasted into the night sky, Rin was having a bit of trouble towards a mutant who was a bit obsessive towards Miyutaro. The mutant lady explained that Miyutaro is a powerful being, and the like of her shouldn't be near him. Although her explanation is essential to the plot, Rin couldn't understand a word she said, and asked who she was referring to. The mutant lady had learned a bit of human language, but only understands simple words and misunderstands what Rin was saying. She thought that her referring to Mayutaro as a virgin meant that she was referring to him as an emperor of the human world. This misunderstanding caused the mutant lady to attack Rin, thinking that she was trying to get with Miyutaro, which was kinda true but not exactly true. Rin was slammed on a wall by the mutant lady as she proclaimed that she would never hand him to Rin. The mutant lady began to transform into her humanoid form, even though she wanted Miyutaro to see her first, but because of this event, she had to. In her humanoid form, the mutant lady's attack had multiplied 10 folds, making it harder for Rin to fight her. A bit tense, Rin hoped for Mayutaro to come back and resolve this issue before it escalates, but it seems that him coming over to her is a bit impossible as Mayutaro took his damn whole time in the moon feeling over the moon. Fortunately, Miyutaro had come to his senses and came down, but the only problem was that his home was miles away from where he was coming down. Meanwhile, Rin and the mutant lady were looking at each other, waiting for the person who would strike first. The mutant lady zoomed into Rin's back, making her caught off guard. Rin immediately punched her continuously, but unfortunately her blows had no effects on her. With a simple bow from the mutant lady, Rin had dealt a lot of damage and broke her mask from the attack. She was now laying there, trying to breathe air, but toxins were already in her body. It is over for Rin, and the mutant lady has shown no remorse as she waits for Mayutaro. In a turn of events, Mayutaro had actually arrived before things had escalated in the second page, and had knocked down the mutant lady as she dreamed what could have happened if ever Mayutaro was late. Rin was a bit concerned about what she was saying, and asked Mayutaro if he ever saw the mutant. Rin told Miyutaro that the mutant lady was a scorpion before her transformation, and soon after Mayutaro remembered the mutant that he called Pochi. While discussing about Pochi, Pochi had awoken from the commotion and immediately told him about Rin not having any feeling for Miyutaro and that he shouldn't come near her. Rin had no idea what she was saying and asked Miyutaro. Miyutaro, who was silent the whole time, had no idea what she was saying either. With that, the three beings in the room felt awkward as they stared at each other, not knowing what to do from the newly formed information they had learned. The two had decided to teach Pochi to speak and had begun on vowels. With great progress, Pochi had been able to speak and immediately insulted Rin, calling her a name. Rin got mad and was supposed to hit Pochi when Miyutaro stopped her before things got heated once again. Pochi, who was able to speak fluently because of her anger, told Rin to stop flirting with Miyutaro every chance she got. Rin, curious, asked Pochi why she kept calling Miyutaro a king. Pochi explained that Miyutaro was the only mutant who could transform in 2 stages as to why he was deemed to be a king. Rin wanted to see Miyutaro transform and asked if he could do it right now, which made Miyutaro embarrassed since he was just practicing in doing so. While both of them were chattering, Pochi explained that Miyutaro would be popular among the mutant fiends from now on, and that he should choose who would be the being that would be his side. Mutant humanoids that had gone to extreme transformation to achieve such a state would be coming towards Miyutaro and would lure, which is not a bad thing if you asked me. Look at them. These mutant humanoids are after his bloodline, and if Rin wanted to stay in her place, she would have to be more than her face card. A bit scared, Rin looked at Miyutaro, who got a little excited to hear that several women were on their way to seduce him. Meanwhile, the so-called humanoid mutants were looking for a dragon who was in the human city looking for Miyutaro, causing several humans to get scared, including Rin's friends who knew who the dragon was talking about. Rin's friends asked what the dragon's relationship with Miyutaro was, and told the dragon that they knew someone. The dragon explained that Miyutaro and the dragon were childhood friends, and that they were looking for him. Since it looks like the dragon was actually nice, the two friends told where Miyutaro lived. The dragon then repaid them with a suitcase filled with bussy and went off their way, though Rin's friends didn't know that the dragon had other plans as she went to the location. Meanwhile, Pochi and Rin were arguing about who would be the one to be Miyutaro's partner. Pochi was telling them that she wouldn't give up in not being Miyutaro's consort when a woman had hit her, making her fly across the room. The woman approached Miyutaro and grabbed him by his hand and told him that they were childhood friends, and she was glad to finally meet him once again. Miyutaro was confused. She hadn't met this chick before, and if he did, he wouldn't forget buns. The woman told him that despite not knowing each other, she would embed that they were childhood friends, even if they weren't. Confused and scared, Miyutaro didn't know what to do as Rin told him to hold his grip as this person seduces him like what Pochi warned them about. Miyutaro was trying his best not to get swayed, but because of him being a virgin, and that he was faced by a magic called jiggle physics. His head was completely filled with magic pillows, ultimately surrendering and thinking that they were childhood friends after all. When Miyutaro was a little kid, his stuffed toy bunny was pecked by a mutant bird, which he couldn't do since he was only a little kid. While this was happening, Ryuko's father was explaining to Ryuko that Miyutaro would become the mutant king one day. Ryuko wanted to save the stuffed animal along with Miyutaro, but was stopped by her father because according to him they could not intervene. It made Ryuko a little sad as her dad screamed at her, not knowing what the big deal, which his dad apologized. Ryuko's father explained that one day, while humanity was thriving, humans enslaved mutants. While humanity was bombed by nuclear bombs, a gentle mutant directed humans to a cave, saving them but killing him as he used his back to shield the humans from the nuclear blast. He turned into dust, and that's how mutants started to multiply. But most of the people didn't know that a life was formed in his heart, and that was Miyutaro. Because of this, they decided to not intervene as he grew up, and that many people are after his power. Ryutaro could only befriend him once he was older. Happy that she could be his friend one day, Ryuko soon after forgot about Miyutaro when she became older and only remembered him when she got tired of becoming a delinquent. Seeing Miyutaro now, she can't help but admire how he became so handsome as he grew up. Rin couldn't help but feel left out as Miyutaro and Ryuko were getting chummy a little bit. Pochi has awoken from getting punched out of nowhere, dragging Rin towards a bar where some of the mutant men live who couldn't afford a decent home. She explained that she used to come here even in her scorpion form. In the bar, Rin and Pochi started to have a drink and talked about Pochi not giving up on Miyutaro despite Rin having an upper hand since she is a human. However, Rin was not listening at all and started to drink a hefty sum of beverage until she started to feel dizzy and wobbly. Even though the beverage they were drinking wasn't alcohol at all, Rin started to crouch and zoomed towards Miyutaro's place, leaving Pochi aside. Ryuko and Mayutaro were having a great conversation when Miyutaro pointed out that it was getting late. Ryuko, on the other hand, was wondering if she could spend the night in his room. Their conversation was interrupted when the drunk Rin was crouching towards them. Ryuko was alerted by this and was going to jump on Rin when Rin was the first one to attack Ryuko. Now that Ryuko was out of the picture, Rin was feeling a bit sad learning about them getting chummy together and felt that Miyutaro was getting taken away by Ryuko. She then grabbed Miyutaro's hand and told him that she wanted them to be friends. Upon hearing this, Miyutaro felt a bit wobbly and went outside to stare in the distance, dwelling on the scenery. Suddenly he screamed out in the open asking why he was suddenly friend-zoned by Rin.